This is Bessie Coleman, photographed in 1923. The first African-American woman and the first Native American to earn a pilot's license. Born to a family of sharecroppers, she dreamed beyond the cotton fields of Texas. When no American flight school would accept her, she went to France alone. There, she trained in a biplane and returned home as a symbol of courage and possibility. They called her Brave Bessie, but she was more than brave. She opened the skies for others to follow. This photograph of Alice Guy Blanchet was taken in 1913. At the time, she was one of the most powerful figures in early cinema, and almost no one today knows her name. Alice wasn't just the first female filmmaker, she was one of the first filmmakers, period. She directed hundreds of films and was the first to use narrative storytelling in cinema, long before Hollywood caught on. She ran her own studio, employed hundreds, and then she was erased. In this little rarer photograph is Nellie Bly from the 1890s. She was more than a journalist. She was a storm. At a time when women were expected to stay quiet, Nellie went undercover into asylums, sweatshops, factories, and prisons. She didn't just write the truth, she lived inside it. She faked madness to expose abuse in mental hospitals. She circled the globe faster than Jules Verne ever imagined. Her real name was Elizabeth Cochrane, but the world would remember her as Nellie Bly. In this 1893 photograph stands Ida B. Wells, a teacher, a journalist, a warrior with words. When no one dared to speak of the lynchings, she did. When the violence came close, she didn't run. She wrote harder. She risked her life not once, but again and again, traveling the country, standing before crowds that didn't want to hear, but needed to. She was calm, fierce, unshakable. They tried to silence her, but Ida B. Wells made sure the world would never be able to say, "We didn't know." In this 1949 photograph, Josephine Baker is no longer just a performer. She's a mother of 12, a French resistance spy, a civil rights force. They called her scandalous in America. In France, they called her a hero. She danced on the world's biggest stages, then risked her life smuggling messages and sheet music. She adopted children from all races, raised them together in a home she called her Rainbow Tribe. Josephine Baker was never just a star. She was a revolution dressed in silk and fire. This photo, taken in 1972, shows Army Kusela. 20 years earlier, at just 17, she was crowned the very first Miss Universe, and placing her quiet homeland of Finland on the global stage. Her beauty was never just in her appearance. It was in her grace, her poise, and her gentle strength. She carried with her the spirit of a northern land, reserved, modest, and kind-hearted. Her success didn't change her. It only revealed what was already there. A young woman whose smile could light a room, but whose character could light a nation. In this 1919 photograph sits a young girl, Frida Kahlo. Barely 12 years old, her gaze already holds the weight of things to come. There's something unshaken behind those eyes, like a soul already familiar with pain. She would become one of the most iconic painters in history. A bus accident would shatter her spine, but not her voice. From her bed, she painted worlds of color and anguish, desire and defiance. Her unibrow, her dresses, her gaze, all symbols of identity reclaimed, a woman ahead of her time, Mexican, revolutionary, eternal. In this photograph, taken in the late 1890s, sits Annie Jump Cannon, a woman whose quiet demeanor belied a brilliant mind that forever changed how we look at the stars. A trailblazing astronomer at a time when women were rarely welcomed into the scientific world, Cannon cataloged over 350,000 stars by hand. Her work helped develop the Harvard classification system, still used today to classify stars by their spectra. Instead, Annie Jump Cannon let her work speak across galaxies and generations. In this photograph stands Greta Johansson, who, at just 17 years old, became the first woman to win Olympic gold in platform diving. The year was 1912. The city was Stockholm, and Greta, born and raised in Sweden, made history on home soil. Competing barefoot in a simple wool swimsuit, she showed not only precision and grace, but a quiet, fearless confidence. Her victory wasn't just for herself. It was a statement in a time when women were still fighting for a place in sport. This moment captured her strength, her poise, and her place in Olympic legend.